Good day, Kavibal, and welcome to our Learn at Home Facebook Live. For the discussion today, the topic will be on prioritizing self-care, teacher wellness for teaching effectiveness. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. Make sure you are registered to the webinar to have your e-certificate of participation. Visit certificate.vibalgroup.com to generate your proof of attendance. Share the video using hashtag LearnAs1PH as our official hashtag to all our Vibal webinars. Experience learning ka Vibal. And now, to proceed with our webinar this evening, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker today. Our speaker for today's Learn at Home session is an educator by profession and by heart. She has a degree in Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English, and is currently completing her degree in Master of Arts in English with specialization in teaching English to speakers of other languages or TESOL. She has had the privilege of teaching elementary, high school, and college students before she assumed office as school principal and served as the accreditation and training coordinator of the Elementary School of Saliman University. Her experience with varied groups of learners has affirmed her belief that teachers should first get to know their learners in order to create an engaging and effective teaching learning environment. She constantly pursues professional development, particularly in the areas of pedagogy, leadership, and personal management. She considers speaking and sharing with fellow educators her passion project and is grateful for every opportunity to impart and contribute to the academy. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Ms. Dobie F. Estalio.
Good evening, fellow educators, and welcome to another Learn at Home session with Vibal. Tonight, we are going to talk about us, not about how to teach better, but about how to take care of ourselves better. And for this evening, we are going to learn a lot of practical tips and how we can become better teachers simply by starting off being better at taking care of ourselves. So let me start my slide presentation. As we all learn at home how to prioritize self care, teacher wellness for teaching effectiveness. I am your resource person for tonight. I am Dobby Flores Estalio, and I am very, very privileged and happy to share how we could all make ourselves better by taking care of ourselves first. Are we ready? So let's get started. Same storm, different boats. During the pandemic, we all felt like we were all afloat in the same storm. But although we were facing the same storm, we are unfortunately not on the same boat. Damien Barr was quoted to have posted, "We are not all in the same boat. We are in the same storm. Some have yachts, some have canoes, and some are drowning. Just be kind and help whoever you can." And the fact that the pandemic came such just like a deluge for all of us that left some of us barely floating while the others gasping for air. The fact remains that we are all in the same storm. And that same storm, or COVID 19 in particular, has brought about what has been known as the pandemic fatigue. Do you think you're feeling pandemic fatigue? If you are, how can we avoid this? Or how can we treat this? If you're not, how is it best prevented? We'll learn more about how to prevent pandemic fatigue through prioritizing self care in just a little while. But before that, let's define and talk about pandemic fatigue and teacher well being. Now, pandemic fatigue refers to exhaustion that one feels following an extended period of spending extra time and energy having to deal with the new pandemic lifestyle or the so called new normal and the challenges that come with it. Now, when pandemic fatigue is not immediately and properly addressed, this will result to pandemic burnout. And pandemic burnout is a chronic illness or a chronic sense of exhaustion, which has even more grave results, not only on our physical health, but also in our mental and emotional well being. All over the world, teachers are among those suffering the most from pandemic fatigue. In fact, since we belong to a caring profession, teachers have been reported to be among the most stressed professions even before the pandemic. This study, for example, sourced from the American Federation of Teachers, reports of a survey back in 2017 wherein teachers reported already feeling stressed out. Now take a look at our pie chart. 61% of teachers felt stressed out, while 58% of the respondents say that their mental health is not good. That was back in 2017, 2 to 3 years before COVID 19 came about. Now, what do you think about the state of the mental health and well being of teachers now during COVID or during the pandemic? Well, here are a couple of statistics to get us informed about the state of teachers in relation to the so called pandemic stress or pandemic fatigue. Now, this blog on teacher well being is a critical and often overlooked part of school health, basically summarizes the fact that educators were found to experience significantly more stress and suffer more often from mental health problems, scoring only lower than nurses and other health professionals. During lockdown, the teachers have suffered stress from having to adapt in record time in order to provide online classes, says Besser et al. This stress has often been accompanied by symptoms of anxiety, depression, and sleep disturbance due to increased workload from teaching at home, says an article that's published on Frontiers of Psychology entitled The Response of Teachers to the Pandemic, the Psychological State of Teachers During the COVID 19 Crisis, the Challenge of Returning to face teaching. But that's not all. Because the pandemic does not weigh the same way for all teachers, it even takes a much more serious toll on female faculty. Pandemic stress on female teachers. In a study carried out in 3 cities in China, teachers were found to suffer from anxiety, with female educators recording higher anxiety levels compared to male teachers. In another study, in July 2020, a total of 32.1% of women ages 25 to 54 had to leave the workforce by July 2020 due to childcare demands, as compared to just 12.1% of men in that same group. Another survey or study revealed that almost three-quarters of female faculty members reported to have felt a deterioration in their work life balance in 2020. Now, compare that with only less than two-thirds of the male faculty respondents. In the same vein, a 2021 study reports that 75% of its women faculty respondents reported feeling stressed or feeling burnout. So that's pandemic fatigue or pandemic stress there, and pandemic burnout, compared with only 59% of the male faculty. And still, according to the article, pandemic fatigue is rampant in academia. 8 out of 10 women pointed to an increase in their workload due to the pandemic, compared with 7 out of 10 men. And since the majority of teachers, at least in our country, are women, this is a very sad and alarming list of statistics, because that means to say that a lot of teachers in the Philippines are really, really experiencing pandemic fatigue and even pandemic burnout. Apart from gender differences, there is also a difference in the effect of the pandemic as regards teachers who are also parents themselves, in comparison to teachers who are single or who do not have any children. Apparently, according to the same source on the response of teachers to the pandemic, those who are teachers and parents at the same time of school age children reported experiencing higher levels of stress. And this is attributed to heavy workload, family care duties such as parenting, homeschooling, child care, and even adult care for some, and financial and pandemic worries are the top reasons for such pandemic fatigue. And that is exactly why tonight we spend time learning about why we are so stressed and how we could prioritize our health and well being through self care. Tonight, we talk about teacher wellness and teaching effectiveness, why teacher wellness matters, and why we all should care. And by all, I don't just mean us educators, us academic professionals, I mean all people, from the students to the parents to the rest of the community. Now, let us please be reminded that self care is just one aspect of the entire school health program or the entire program for teacher or faculty and staff wellness. But since the majority of those of you who are here in this call tonight are academic frontliners, and not too many are actually administrators who have a say and who have the authority to make decisions as far as program planning and development, then we focus on what we can do, where we are with what we have, and that is how to become well or how to achieve total wellness through self care. Are we ready to learn more about this? I am so excited to be able to share what I have gathered from my research on this matter. First, let's get to know why we should pay attention to our wellness. First, reason. Teacher wellness has been found to affect teachers' physical, mental, and emotional health. And spelled out, this will translate to less absenteeism, better teaching performance, and overall better health. So we should learn to prioritize self care because we want to see all these benefits: less absenteeism, better teaching performance, and better health in us. Next reason, teachers' emotions and wellness state or well being, the fact that whether we are stressed or not and to what extent, is reported to affect the well being of other teachers as well as the stability of the school. Of course, if you have an ill teacher, then this will have implications on the well being of the other teachers and, in general, on the stability of the school. Simply put, teacher stress contributes to stress in the workplace and stress at home. Now, we don't want that happening in our schools and, more importantly, in our homes. Therefore, we should learn how to prioritize self care. Reason number three: teacher well being influences student well being and performance. Data from a study by De La Fuente et al. Revealed that teachers' behavior is linked with the emotional well being and performance of students. And if we care so much about our students, especially in this time of pandemic, then we should take care of ourselves first. There's a picture of a teacher holding up a bond paper that reads, "Help." Do we feel that way? Have we felt that way? Because we shouldn't. If we want well functioning schools, students, and families, we need to help teachers. And teachers, we need to help ourselves first. Make time for self care. That's what we are doing tonight. We are educating ourselves so that we would learn how to take care of ourselves better. Before we move any further to talking about practical ways by which we can employ self care in our daily regimen, let us first take this self care quiz. Okay, this self care quiz I accessed from the Academic Success Center of Oregon State University, and it is a 15-item questionnaire that basically just allows us to think about each item and rate it from 1 to 5, where 1 signifies less true and 5 signifies more or most true. Okay, again, there will be 15 items, and all you need to do is score yourself for each item. Give yourself 1 if this is hardly true to you, and 5 if it is most true or very, very true to you. Now, once you're done with all 15 items, you just need to add up your scores, and I shall present to you with the results of the same self care quiz. Now, are you ready? For those of you who'd like to very quickly grab a piece of pen and paper, you may do so. Those who'd like to use their cell phones to calculate, you may very much do so. And of course, those who'd like to do mental math, you can very much do so. Anyway, all you need to do are numbers ranging, or all you need to do is add up numbers ranging from 1 to 5. Okay, so shall we get started? Okay, let's take this self-care quiz and find out how much we have been taking care of ourselves. Self awareness is always the first step to self improvement. Okay, and here are the first 7 items. Number 1, I take time for myself every day. Kind of give yourself a number representing 1 to 5, where 1 means less true and 5 means most true. Number 2, I make time for spirituality in any form, mindfulness, or religious discipline. Okay, rate yourself 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Now, you don't need to overthink every item. All you need to do is just read it as it is and just ask yourself how much of this item are you doing or practicing in real life, and then you score yourself accordingly. Number 3, I limit the amount of television that I watch each day. Give yourself a score then. Number 4, I limit the amount of Facebook or internet surfing that I do each day. Number 5, I exercise at least 5 days a week for 30 minutes. Okay, that's obviously 30 minutes each day for 5 days for the entire week. Okay, number 6. I drink 6 to 8 glasses of water each day. Okay, water, huh? Water only. Don't include counting other forms of liquid because the item in the checklist or in the quiz just says water. Number 7. My hair, nails, and appearance are good, and I like most things in my wardrobe. Okay, let's move on with items 8 to 15, and they are in the next slides. Okay, next, number 8. I take care of my body, and kindly rate yourself from 1 to 5 for A to D. Letter A. I get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Letter B. I brush and floss my teeth and practice good hygiene. Letter C. I eat approximately 5 fruits and veggies a day. Now, 5 here could mean fruits and vegetables in relation to servings. Or if you're talking about fruits, for example, you can actually count them by the pieces. But basically, you have to think about whether to give yourself 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 in relation to whether you get to eat 5 fruits and veggies a day. Letter D. I limit junk food and fast food consumption. Number 9. I generally wear clean clothes. Number 10. I get together with a friend at least once a month and enjoy hobbies regularly. Number 11. I have a relaxing routine before bed and a nurturing morning routine. Okay, let's get ready for items 12 to 15. Number 12. I usually know what I need and what I am feeling. Can you rate yourself from 1 to 5? Number 13. My organized environment supports my goals. Number 14. I take frequent breaks and have something to look forward to every evening. And number 15. I know what I am passionate about. Okay, the next thing to do here is to do your math. Kindly add up your scores from items number 1 to 15 and get ready to find out the interpretation of your scores. Okay, so I'll give you a moment to count. Kindly add everything up. And all together, we will find out what your score reveals about how much you prioritize self-care in your life. Okay, shall we get started revealing the scores? First, bracket. If your score total reaches anywhere between 72 and 90, that's way to go for you. You are taking excellent care of yourself. Now you can delve further into things like getting massages, simplifying your life, and getting rid of as many stressors as you can. You have done well enough, but of course, there's always a room for improvement, right? Okay, if you scored from 54 to 71 points, then you know how to take care of yourself. Now, all you need to do is do it consistently. Would it help to track your daily self care? What can you do that would allow for some of these self care habits to happen regularly? So you kindly ask yourself and choose areas where you can still improve on. If your score is from 36 to 53 points, you may value yourself, but can you prioritize self care a bit more? Set an evening just for you every week with no outside obligations. Examine your calendar to get rid of unimportant meetings, etc. Turn off the TV, Facebook, the internet after an hour of watching, surfing, etc. Put in a daily half hour for you in your appointment book. Let go of unrealistic standards of how much you can get done in a day. Cut your to do list for the day in half. Now, use that time to work on one thing on the checklist above or one of those items from 1 to 15 that you answered earlier until you form a habit. Then move on to another one. Now, if you scored 18 to 35, you feel guilty every time you take time for yourself. You need to realize that your family, friends, school, and work don't want an empty vessel. They want a vibrant, authentic, and energetic you. Talk with your family and friends about how you want to start taking better care of yourself. Is there a way you can use your friends and family to build in time for your self care? If they are supportive, see if they are open to having you be accountable to them. Which thing from the above checklist do you think would have the most impact on your energy and well being? Work on that action until it becomes a habit. And if you scored anywhere from 0 to 17, and I really hope that none of you has this score, your actions don't seem to reflect that you prioritize taking care of yourself. What are you prioritizing instead? Remember, you are just as important as the other people in your life. Shine for them. Pick an easy, non threatening action to start caring for yourself. Maybe you can drink one more glass of water or take 5 minutes alone. Start small and work your way up. Okay, so now that we are done with that self care quiz, which I copied from the Academic Success Center of Oregon University, then we shall delve into the different ways by which we can practice self-care. But of course, before we look at tips, let us first talk about exactly what we mean by self-care. Self-care defined by Oxford Languages is the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well being and happiness, in particular during periods of stress. The World Health Organization also defines self care as the ability of individuals, families, and communities to promote health, prevent disease, maintain health, and to cope with illness and disability with or without the support of a healthcare provider. So, simply put, self care is caring for yourself to avoid disease and to avoid the harmful effects of stress. Now, there are elements or dimensions of self care which we all should be aware of and concerned about. First one is the physical element or dimension, which means recognizing the need for physical activity, diet, sleep, and nutrition. Then we also have the psychological element, which is recognizing the need for engaging in activities that contribute to mental wellness, such as meditation, self reflection, boundary setting. And you will learn more about all these elements in a while. Emotional self care refers to developing skills and strategies to cope with stress. Financial self care talks about satisfaction with your current and future financial situations. Social element of self-care is all about developing a sense of connection and a well-developed support system. Spiritual element of self-care involves searching for meaning and purpose in the human existence, while occupational self-care is personal satisfaction, and enrichment derived from one's work. Now, are we ready to talk about 25 ways by which teachers can prioritize self care? Now, some of these you have heard of, you probably just didn't really pay it much attention, and some are relatively new. So, I'd like you to take a look at all 25 and pick those that you feel are doable and that you can easily integrate into your daily routines. We start with the physical self care. First, get enough sleep. Avoid changing your sleeping schedule. Research says that changing your sleeping schedule badly hurts the immune system because obviously you won't be getting enough sleep by then. Number two, eat healthy. Include lots of fruits, vegetables, and fluids in your diet. Three, reduce sugar and caffeine intake. That also goes well with fats, right? Excessive consumption of either substances may contribute to depression and anxiety. And again, this has been scientifically proven to be true. Number four, exercise. Need I say more? Number five, aside from exercise, you can also exercise your body by engaging in healthy physical activities that will keep your body active, such as games, sports, and even household chores. Number six, indulge in a relaxing warm bath and a massage from time to time. Now, based on research, warm baths are said to be relaxing because they help to cure swelling. So if there's inflammation in any particular part of your body, oh, a nice warm bath really helps to um, lessen the pain or the inflammation itself that you may feel from the inflammation. And it also allows your muscles to relax. Same goes with having a massage. That's why it is very much recommended as part of your self care, physical self care regimen. Next, stretch and zoom out, especially because we are not physically meeting our students anymore. We do our work sitting down most of the time. So we are very much advised to stretch and zoom out. What do we mean by this? Stretching is simply stretching your body, get out of your desk, walk, because prolonged sitting and working causes what we call tech neck when your neck hurts because you've been poring over papers or staring at the computer screen for far too long. And of course, it also causes fatigue. Apart from that, we may also employ the so-called 20-20-20 rule, especially for us who are doing online classes. And the 20-20-20 rule, which depth ed, by the way, prescribes, is simply taking a break for 20 seconds and looking at something that's 20 feet away every 20 minutes. So 20 seconds break time, looking at something 20 feet away for every 20 minutes. Number eight, our psychological self care regimen may also include creating a comfortable living and workspace because a messy work area will certainly clutter the brain. Number nine, establish boundaries with people at work or at home. For instance, you can inform them when you cannot be disturbed and when you may be available for them. Number 10, set up a happy place or a calm down corner, such as what you are seeing on your screen. That is an example of a calm down corner or a happy place, however you'd like to call it. Something that contains things that naturally relax and distress you, such as plants. If you have an aquarium, you also put that in your happy or calm down corner. Music has been proven to really help uh, calm our senses and boost our mood. Aromatherapy, those of you who'd like uh, candles, scented candles with aromatherapy oils. Those who love books, arts and crafts, cushions, anything that gives you a sense of relaxation is what you need to put in your happy place. Now, your happy place or your calm down corner is not your workspace. The point is, these are two distinct areas so that you will really have to force yourself to get up from your workplace and go to this calm down or happy corner of yours so that you will definitely get to give yourself that time every day or as needed to calm down and to relax and not to spend the entire day just working. Number 11, limit social media and news consumption. Instead, read books, watch movies or videos, preferably those that do not remind you of work. So the point is take a break. And your break time must not be still involving gadgets as much as possible because you'd like to rest your eyes and you don't like to do doom scrolling. That's a term they have for saying to refer to, the scrolling, the endless, mindless scrolling we do on our phones, on our computers, which eventually will lead us all to doom, health wise at least. Number 12, sharpen your mind with puzzles, board games, and even virtual games, whichever applies better to you. In a survey by game developer Real Networks, 64% of the respondents identified playing games as a form of relaxation, while 53% played to relieve stress. So, as to what kind of game you need to play, it's really up to you. But the point is, make sure that these kinds of games will sharpen your brain and at the same time will help you to relax. Emotional and social self care, we put them into one because they're so closely connected. First, number 13, do a daily personal check in. Acknowledge your emotions and respond appropriately to them. Now, here is a set of emojis which actually you can use to help you do a personal check in. It's very easy. Just take a look at the material. If you are a very visual kind of learner, you would really want to have this. But if you're not, then you could just imagine and ask yourself the question, how am I feeling today? Then, once you have identified your emotion for that day or for that moment, the next question to ask is it a good emotion? Is it valid for me to be feeling this at the moment? Because if it is a positive emotion, then well and good. If it is a negative emotion, it's something you will just have to slowly release because your feelings are valid, right? Of course, it's okay to feel angry, it's okay to feel sad for as long as you don't do anything damaging or hurtful just because you're feeling like that at the moment. And like I've said previously, self awareness is the first step to action. So if you know how you're feeling, then you would know what next to do. If you're angry, should I punch that person's face because I'm angry? Definitely is a no. So because I'm angry, what should I do? Should I cry? Crying is very therapeutic, especially for women, right? Should I write how I'm feeling in my diary or in my journal? Should I draw? Should I cook something healthy, I hope? Or should I talk to somebody about it or sleep over it and get over it after I take my nap? So that's what we mean by doing a daily personal check in. Number 14, create a don't do or daily achievement list. And may I add, a gratitude list at the same time. Now, what do we mean by this? For most of us, we have a list of to dos, right? So many things to do every single day. But sometimes what we actually just need to do is to free up our to do list. Sometimes our to do list is our source of stress because there's just too much to do in so little time that it seems like no matter how hard and how long you work, your list just doesn't seem to end. So why don't you go over that list and determine which of those tasks you have written you may delegate or altogether completely eliminate? Which of those things don't you actually need to do? And at the end of the day, you always have to look back and think about what you have achieved for today. That's your daily achievement list. And it's always, always good to end on a very positive note by listing three things that you are grateful for that day. Feeling good about yourself, feeling good about the little things that you're able to accomplish, feeling good about the blessings that you have is one powerful means of thwarting stress and anxiety. Number 15, connect with family and friends. Socialize. Hug if you can, because a human touch is very, very powerful when it comes to making people feel better. Number 16, soak up the sun or stay where there is sufficient light. Apart from vitamin D, it's good to get our dose of sunshine, or if you couldn't have it for whatever reason, then at least stay where you can have sufficient light because sunlight triggers the release of serotonin, which increases one's energy, improves mood, and prevents depression. So, this is exactly why people who live in countries where there is a long winter feel depressed during the winter season because there's such a thing as seasonal depression. Now, if you cannot catch natural sunlight, then create a place where you can still get light, any kinds of light, especially those that are close to the natural ones, like fire. In a study published in Energy Research and Social Science in November 2020, for example, of close to 150 people in Sweden who had fireplaces, these respondents who lit up their fireplaces at the end of the workday to create a cozy and relaxing atmosphere actually indicated feelings of harmony, calmness, happiness, and joy. And if you don't have a fireplace, I think the closest you could get to having all these wonderful feelings is a nice, warm light bulb, right? You know, that yellowish uh, color flooding your entire room, especially before you get ready for bed. That always sets off your body system and signals your brain that you are ready to slow it down, you're ready to relax because you're ready for bed. Next, take a vacation. We've been deprived of this for 2 years now, but from time to time, whenever it is possible, for as long as we follow health protocols, of course, let's find the time to take a vacation. It is going to be worth our time and our money. A Workation Nation study reveals the following: 35% of respondents of the study say that they felt productive and better after taking a vacation. 45% felt rested, rejuvenated, and reconnected. 91% believe that vacations make them closer to their family. And apart from all these wonderful positive results of how the respondents feel after taking a vacation, another interesting data that cropped up from this survey or from this study is that the majority of employees these days have already adapted to how they do work, because the term workcation actually means to say that many people confirm that they did work related activities during vacation, such as taking calls, checking emails, or even planning or writing or finishing a report. Just make sure, though, that there should be more time allocated for the actual vacation than for work. Otherwise, then you will have robbed yourself of that much needed break time if you just do mostly work during your vacation. Spiritual self care, number 18. Do meditation and mindfulness exercises. Of course, we know meditation is just, and mindfulness is not too very far removed from meditation. Mindfulness could be as simple as closing your eyes and listening to all the sounds you can hear, smelling all the smells, all the fragrance that you can smell at the moment, being very conscious and aware of your thoughts, of your emotions. And it's all about self awareness because, again, self awareness is a first step to action. So, after you get to know about where you are at the moment, then you get a clearer mind, you feel lighter, and you are able to think more clearly. Number 19, commune with nature. Start or maintain a home garden. That is why we saw the rise of the plantitos and plantitas during the lockdown because gardening does help to keep anxiety levels low. Take a forest bath, or in Japanese, it's called Shinrin Yuku. This is actually a practice which is very complicated. All you need to do is go to a forest or go to where there are a lot of trees, just walk through it, enjoy a walk, and take in fresh air. Forest bathing has been very popular. I've even seen on the internet a picture at, if I'm not mistaken, Camp Chenehe in Baguio. Yeah, wherein they have a forest bath trail. But apart from that, which you please would have to validate. I'm not so sure if it was really Camp Chanhe, but it's one of the famous parks in Baguio, definitely. Apart from that becoming one of the the activities or tourist attractions in Baguio, research on environmental health and preventative medicine has found that forest bathing decreases depression as trees release terpenes that help people to distress. So this is exactly the explanation to why we always feel better and more relaxed when we go to places with a lot of trees and a lot of plants. Number 20, pray. There's also research that points that the brain lights up and feels more relaxed whenever we pray. Whenever we communicate with God, we do feel better and our load seems to feel lighter. Financial self care. Spend wisely. We don't like to be stressed unnecessarily by the horrors of reckless spending, right? We also have to save for the rainy days. And one important savings that we should create is the so called emergency fund, which should be worth 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses. Now, during the pandemic, we've seen just how much important it is for us to have an emergency fund. So, if we haven't done so yet, it's never too late. And don't be too pressured. 3 to 6 months may seem like a very big deal of money, but you can always start small. We can always save even just a small amount every payday, for example. Doesn't matter if it's just 50 or 100 for as long as we get started. And then once we have already completed our emergency fund, then the next thing we should save up for is a business or an investment. And of course, do not forget to save up also for travel, for leisure, whatever it is that helps you to relax without having to wreck your budget, that is. Occupational self care. Number 23, create breaks in between tasks. You have to get up, you have to socialize if you need to, you have to keep your mind from being bogged by taking time out, but just don't overdo it. Number 24, participate in personal development activities. You'd like to always upskill and upgrade yourself so that you will learn more and be ready to cope with any emergencies in the office or in school. Taking this webinar for tonight is one good example of investing in your personal development, right? And professional growth. And number 25, maximize work time. Yes, you should take breaks, but make sure to do so in moderation. Maximize work time, don't waste it, because the moment you don't maximize work time, the moment you waste your work time, you'll end up getting swamped with just too many things to do, too much work, and you'll end up getting stressed because there's so much to do and there won't be enough time for you to do it. Okay, so there you go with the 25 self care tips. All these are surprisingly easy, right? And all you need to do is to pick those that you feel are doable and those that you prefer to integrate into your routine. But we're not done yet. And I hope you don't mind because I would like to share with you bonus self care tips from the book Ikigai. Now, this is a book that I've read last year. It's actually a very easy read, and it's based on research and interviews. It's of these two people, the authors Hector Garcia and Francis Morales, who went on an immersion to Ogimi in Okinawa, Japan. Okay, this is where the world's longest living or oldest people have been reported to live. And we're not talking about one, two, or three super centenarians here. We're talking about so many super centenarians. And when we say super centenarians, we actually mean those people who have lived 110 years or longer. Okay, so let's find out and learn from these old and healthy people exactly what their self-care regimen is so that we could also integrate whatever we can apply into our daily lives. Okay, the book title, if you'd like to read it, it's very easy to read. It's entitled Ikigai: The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life. Okay, first, let's talk about what do these super centenarians and centenarians do to keep them living happy and healthy for a long time. First, they commune with nature. Now, Ogimi is situated in between the sea and the mountain. So just imagine how relaxing the atmosphere is. Every day they breathe in fresh air from the mountains and from the sea. And there is very minimal stress, probably, that they experience from the site or the community where they live in because they are living at the heart of nature. Next, develop a sense of community. Now, these old people have a very rich social life. They participate in and celebrate cultural festivals. They have a lot of social activities. They celebrate birthdays, for example. They have longevity activities such as exercises, and they enjoy each other's company. Next, they have a culture of helping others. And helping here does not necessarily just mean rendering a hand or lending a hand, rather, to somebody who needs it. They also have something like a cooperative wherein each one freely gives a due. They have something like monthly dues. They contribute a pool of financial resources, and whoever in the community needs money gets to borrow from the pool, from the cash pool. Obviously, they'll have to return what they borrowed so that anyone else who might need it sometime soon will be able to borrow from their money as well. So, talk about helping others. That's really real. They consume a lot of healthy and organic food. In particular, they eat a lot of fresh seafood, a lot of vegetables, citrus fruits, and very seldom do they eat meat. They eat a variety of vegetables and fruits, 5 to 7 servings of these every day. They slow down on sugar, and if they need to, they actually choose cane sugar. They practice hara hachibu, which is actually a term that refers to stopping eating when you are about 80% full. So they don't eat to their stomach's content. They eat until they are almost full. And in fact, they serve food in several smaller plates. It's actually also a strategy to trick the brain into thinking that they should stop eating because they've already finished so many plates of food, right? So, hara hachibu. Stop eating when you are 80% full. It's something that we should be trying if we want to lose weight, that is. They consume assorted types of tea. Not much coffee, no soda, from at least not from what I've read, but all sorts of different kinds of tea. They practice meditation and spirituality. It's almost automatic to them. They exercise. They like to exercise. Taiso is like group calisthenics, which is famous in Japan. And it is not done only by old people. They also do this in schools, even to kids as early as kindergarten. They play physical games and they love to dance. They enjoy music. They can sing a cappella or they do karaoke, and they usually do it with friends. They love to stay preoccupied with daily tasks. They're always busy, but they're not rushed. They do their work with a sense of calm. In fact, the authors described that they cannot be found sitting down for a long period of time reading or doing nothing. They're always going about, always tending to their gardens, always doing house chores. They're always busy. They keep their hands busy, but they have a sense of calm about them. So maybe this is why we're stressed, right? Because we always have so many things to do and we always rush to finish them. If only we could take our pace a little slower and try to actually enjoy the work and not hurry up with it, then maybe we will be less stressed. Next, they wake up early and they work their body and brain. And to quote one of those super centenarians interviewed, if you don't work, your body will break. They develop good friendships, definitely. They help each other out. They are friends of everybody in the neighborhood. They're always optimistic that things will be better. and they find and stick to their ikigai. Now, ikigai, simply put, is one's life purpose or reason for being. So, your ikigai could be your teaching, your ikigai could be your family, your ikigai could be teaching and communicating with other people. Now, whatever it is that you feel is your life purpose or reason for being, stick to it, give it your all, and take pride in having achieved your ikigai on a daily or regular basis. The point, my dear educators, is that we have to take care of ourselves because we cannot pour from an empty cup. If we really love our students, if we really love the schools that gave us employment, if we really love our families, then we need to take care of ourselves first. Prioritize self care. It's not selfishness. Self love is always a precursor to giving more love to other people. Let us be reminded in closing of Exodus chapter 33, verse 14. The Lord replied, My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. Have a restful and self care filled weekend, and I hope that you've learned a lot from my sharing. Thank you very much. And thank you also to Vibal for giving me the opportunity to share with fellow educators for the month of March. God bless everyone and love yourself first. Thank you.
There we have it. In behalf of Ibal Group Incorporated, I would like to thank our speaker for today for this indeed very eye-opening and insightful learning session. It is our honor to have you with us today. And to all our Kavibal viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to all our daily learning session. Don't forget to register to get your e-certificate of participation. The link is in the caption of this webinar. We also encourage you to subscribe and watch on our official Vivo Facebook and YouTube channel. Muli, maraming salamat at magandang araw sa ating lahat. Happy weekend mga ka-Vival!